Hey, here we are, as always. Welcome, everybody, to the show. And as always, I'm your host, David Burrows. Happy Monday, right? How's it going out there in wherever you are? I always like to remind everybody that we're live in several different places. Of course, right here in Sarnia, Ontario. But across Canada, we're some hubs in the United States. Our friends in the United Kingdom are hosting us as well, and our friends in South Africa and Australia as well. So thank you to all of our friends and who put up the hubs on Facebook to make sure that we get live all over the planet. And as always, I like to say, how you doing out there? And where are you watching from? And what I mean, where are you watching from? I mean, what city are you in? And whoever's watching, please take a moment to say hello in the comments. We are live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter all at the same time. So I was watching the we'll come to the comments there in just a moment. Once I see a few there, we'll say hello to you. I was watching the premiere. Well, I was doing the broadcast for the premiere earlier today, right? And boy, oh boy, would you want to be him? It doesn't really matter what color your stripes are, as he likes to say, but like people are going to his home residence and protesting, and he has neighbors with children, and they're upset, and I guess I would be too if I was living next door to the premier right now. But I think are we? Come on, people! I think we're going a little too far here. Like, he welcomes freedom of speech and welcomes your protests. He just says, "Come on down to Queen's Park and do it there." Right? I think that's fair. He pointed out too. There's kind of an unwritten law, if you will, in politics. You leave the family out of it, so to speak. So I really feel for him, and I think he's doing a really good job considering. I mean, hello, signed up to be premier or signed up to be whatever, but didn't see pandemic being on that have to-do list, right? So I think I'm sure those people aren't listening to me, but I think it's just too bad that it's had to come to that. Millions, billions are being spent on safety and prevention and employment, all this stuff. So stay away from the premier's home, I guess is what I would have to say with that. It's too bad. Let's go to the comments over here. Oh, Danny Cuchamilio, how are you? Good afternoon and happy Monday to you as well. And how have you been, Danny? I haven't seen you in a while. We'll have to get you on the show, or one of the randoms that I do. You'll have to pop up. I know hockey's the other topic, right? The OHL had announced a few months ago, December 1st would be the beginning of the season for the OHL. Now, honestly, I'm not sure where that comes from because the government really hasn't said anything about it yet. Of course, we're all missing hockey on every level. And I'm not just talking OHL and NHL, etc. I'm talking like the little kids that are learning to play hockey, right? I really feel for them. So we'll see how that turns out. But the OHL, haven't heard any word yet. But I do recommend you follow along on the Sarnia Sting page and even check out the group Sarnia Sting Nation. They have been keeping that busy and keeping up to date on players and former players of the Sarnia Sting as well. So that's a great place to hang out. And we're still going to be doing some stuff. But Danny, I'm going to miss having you on the Sting show, right? We'll have to figure out a way to do that. This live streaming thing, that could be an option. I've been doing it for 10 years, right? So, Danny, we'll have to hook up there for sure and see if we can talk hockey or sports of some sort. Anyway, right? So, the other thing the premier talked about was Halloween. Are you going to celebrate Halloween? Or I say celebrate. Are you giving out candy? I guess we're not, and the only reason is I think we're just going to take that weekend, Jennifer and I, to go away for a couple of days. But my boy's probably going to stay here. So if he wants to give out candy, that's fine. I guess my kids are grown, so I guess I don't worry about doing that anymore. Jennifer likes doing it because she likes seeing the kids come to the door, and that's cute and everything, and I get that. But this year we're taking a break from it. But are you handing out candy? I'd be curious. Let me know in the comments wherever you're watching from. Hello, Michelle. Nice to see you as well. Yes, Danny, I know you'd love to because you love the camera too, right? You just like talking about sports, or is it just about the Greyhounds, the Sioux Greyhounds? Who else? Oh, Winnipeg, Manitoba is watching us. Hello, Alan. Thanks for joining us here today. Appreciate you as well. Anyway, I think, they talked about it, again, back to the Premier talking about it. Well, it was actually Dr. David Williams, the Chief Medical Officer of Ontario. It's really confusing right now. You can go over here and you can be with this many people on a porch and do this, but you can't have kids come to the door. And I get a lot of it doesn't make sense, right? But I just try to remember that I didn't go to medical school for 7+ years. So I kind of have to put my trust in those that did, right? And, it's actually one of the things that Dr. David Williams pointed out today, which I thought was very good, because something I say here on the show every week. He didn't say it like this, but he basically said, get the information from the horse's mouth. In other words, like, people are going over on this website and this social Facebook group and this Twitter said this and he said, she said, or you could, and then he said, when I ask people, have you been to the Ontario website? And they say, well, no, I don't have time for that. Right? I mean, that's where the information is coming from the government. Same here in our city. LambtonPublicHealth.ca, Lambton Public Health. That's where the accurate information for our city is. I've been saying it for weeks. I say it every week. Go to Sarnia.ca. They've done a fantastic job, our city, of putting up a specific page, an information page on the City of Sarnia website. Tells you what's going on, what the rules are, etc. That's where I get my information from, not the Facebook groups. Because the thing about Facebook is you probably know this. Everybody's a journalist now, because we can all do this, right? So Lambton Public Health, Sarnia.ca, and the Ontario government website, it's very clear to understand. So I would that would be my recommendation anyway. I mean, obviously you do what you want, but let's go back to comments here. Talking about Halloween, Cindy. Hello, Cindy. She says, yes, I'm taping candy to sticks and letting the kids do a scavenger hunt in my front yard. Oh, that's interesting. There's adapting, right? So, all right. I think it's just a world of adaptation right now. Even moms and dads that go out on Halloween, it's like certain areas, right? If you know your neighbors and stuff, and moms and dads stand around and talk as well. All you need, what is it? 2 meters, 2 meters and 6 feet. I always get them. I used to say 6 meters apart. Wow. If you had to be 6 meters apart, could you imagine that? At least it's only 2 meters apart, and wear your mask. I think we'll be okay if we just keep doing that, right? Okay. One of the things of adapting has been the music world everywhere, of course, but around here in town, I'm very pleased to see so much interaction, if you will, as much as can be allowed with what's going on. And live music scene in Sarnia, and I've been around it. I've lived in Sarnia all my life. I've seen a lot of it. And it's always been kind of like a hub and a very busy area for music and artists in general, right? So I know there were so many musicians, especially, that were just starving, if you will, to get out and play. We did the Friday night music fever here for about 11 weeks, every Friday night. And my wonderful friend Jules joined me here as a co-host. We had a lot of fun for that. And people really appreciated it being done. And of course, the quarantine sessions on Facebook group as well was being done. Fantastic, but it just wasn't the same as getting out and playing. Nightlife downtown, fantastic job of local entertainment playing, and lots of other places we see it happen at Refined Fool, etc. It's great to see the live music again. And my friends Jules and Rick are going to be coming out again on this October the 23rd, and they'll be at Stone Picker Brewing from 7 to 9. So if you can get out there, say hello to them, and tell them I said hello as well. And Jules, if you're listening, I'm sorry I can't be there, but we're gonna have to get around. I gotta get an invite to the shack. She's got the She Shack. I've only been there once. I need to get invited back. So nice to see the live music. Do whatever you can to get out and support the local music, of course, right? Speaking of Halloween, this is very interesting. The Sarnia Moose Lodge, 1046 here on Phillip Street, they're having from 5 to 8 p.m. bag of treats for all the kids 12 and under. open to the public, all welcome, and it's a drive-through to get your treats. What another cool idea. So more adapting that's happening. And the Moose Lodge is a great place to hang out. I'm a member there, and they've always got great activities and nice social, properly guidelined, of course, but they give a lot back into our community as well. It's one of the great things I love about the Moose Lodge. I'm very proud to be a member there as well. So if you're looking for something to do in the community and you're not quite sure, go to the Moose Lodge, check it out, get yourself a membership. It doesn't cost hardly anything. And you just never know who you might meet and you can network with and maybe get involved and giving back in the community as well. All right. Hello, Jackie. Nice to see you out there. Hiya. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're behaving yourself too, right? How's school going? All that sort of stuff. All right. So once again, the Moose Lodge coming up for Halloween. Nice idea. Now, of course, this is really exciting and awesome. Sarnia's first drive-in concert experience on October the 23rd and 24th at the Sarnia Chris Hadfield Airport. Who ever thought we'd be having a concert at an airport, right? Now, of course, this is looking a little different than typically what we'd be used to. The Blue Water Border Fest committee got together and wrapped their heads around how are we going to do this. And they finally decided just to go ahead and do it at the Sarnia Chris Hadfield Airport, rocking the runway on the 23rd and the 24th. A country night and a rock and roll night. And we just want to throw in there a reminder that they have reset, if you will, dates for June 24th to the 26th for Blue Water Border Fest. But in the meantime, Rockin' the Runway will welcome the Reclaws for country night. And you can't have a country night without Scott Maneri and the Barn Burners. Tickets for this at rockintherunway.ca. And it's going to be a big night on the Saturday because Big Rec's going to be there as well. And we just hope you'll get out there and get those tickets pretty soon because they're going very, very fast. Rodney James and the Riot are going to be there as well. And I think when we talked to Mark Perrin last week, they were down to about 50. So it's cars driving in, okay? It's obviously not going to be like a regular concert. It's alcohol free. Obviously, you can't drink and then drive home, okay? And don't be bringing it in yourself either. But what a great way that Blue Water Border Fest also being presented with Cool 106.3. That's coming up, so be ready for that. It's going to be an exciting weekend this weekend. Make sure you get those tickets and get out there and enjoy a drive-in concert here in Sarnia. All right, just before we get to a couple more comments before I get to my first guest, and school is good as normal as possible, right? How are you enjoying the online learning, right? There you go. Alan says, I guess Jules and Rick are stone pickers. I was on the farm long ago. There you go. All right. Well, thanks to everybody for that. And thanks again. Just want to say thanks to Blue Water Border Fest Committee for coming up with this idea and making it work. I know it's going to be a really exciting time. All right. Well, let's go to our first guest. Welcome, Heather Allen from jobPath Employment. Thanks for being here.
Hi. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How, before we get into who you are and how have you been dealing with COVID?
Wow. It's been an interesting 6 or 7 months, I think, for everyone. Here at work, it has certainly made us think differently and become a little more creative in how we serve the clients that we serve.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about that jobPath employment, but it's specifically National Disability Employment Awareness Month. That's a mouthful to remember. Yep. But tell everybody who you are, and then let's get into what jobPath is all about.
Okay, certainly. So my name is Heather Allen, and I'm the coordinator for jobPath Employment Discovery. And what we do here at jobPath is really a cog, if you will, in the wheel of our employment transitions team. So jobPath itself is a 6-week employment discovery workshop for someone with a disability. They are here with us from Monday to Friday for 3 to 4 hours a day. And our team utilizes this time to not only train and provide life skills and employment skills for individuals, but during that 6 weeks, we're really treating it like a job for the individual. We're constantly evaluating, coaching, and mentoring in a way so that when they graduate from jobPath, then we determine whether they're ready for employment. And sometimes individuals may need to work on a few things, but most times after the 6 weeks, individuals are ready to go into a place of employment that's a good fit for them. And that's really a big part of jobPath, is finding the right fit for the right person so they can be sustainable in their employment.
I like how you say that it's a job, getting a job, or you treat it like it's a job, right? Because boy, I hope my kids are listening. I kind of said that to them the other day, just saying that if you're not working, your job is to find a job.
Right.
And I know back in my day, anyway, that might have been a little easier. You got up, you went out, you just went door to door, and you handed out resumes, and you checked the newspaper, and I mean that's certainly changed, but I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, their kid, and I say kid, like they're like 16, 17, that first kind of job thing, they're just scrolling through their phone and they go, no, I don't like that, or like that, and then they go, well, I looked for a job today. Yeah. There's really a lot more to it than that, though, right? Like I would think it'd be challenging to find a job these days.
Well, of course, in the last 6 or 7 months, we found a whole new world of challenges now with jobs and getting ready for a job. If you happen to be an individual that you have everything already lined up and you're ready to just hit go, but for many individuals, that's not the case. They've never had a job before. They might lack in some other skills or abilities. So the purpose for jobPath being 6 weeks is that we really have enough time with someone to find out, are they really ready for employment? For most employers, that 30 to 60-day window is really that probationary sort of time. So we like to think that during those 6 weeks, we in a way are really already pre-vetting that individual. Yeah. So when we go out to call an employer, and we can say, pretty honestly that, we think we have a good candidate for the job. They've proven themselves to us for 6 weeks, and we feel comfortable and confident that they will be a good employee for you.
I guess that's a good point you bring up. As an employer, you must have strong relationships with those that you're trying to bring employment to, and there has to be a big trust factor there between you and the employer.
Oh, absolutely. It's just as important as the trust that we build with the participant that's coming into jobPath. Without the two, no one is succeeding. So for our employer partners, they certainly have grown to trust us that we're going to bring forth someone that's already going to be ready to go into employment. And if you've ever been on the side of hiring and been in business yourself, you know that it's a very costly avenue. And if you can arrange for 5 to 6 individuals or candidates to come in to interview, that's great, but they're complete strangers to you. So by utilizing jobPath, employers have found that we've done that work for them. And that's why jobPath is 6 weeks long. If someone starts and after 2 to 3 weeks, their attendance falls off, or they've proven that they just aren't quite ready to finish, then we'll know that, obviously that individual is not ready to jump into work either.
Yeah, so it's a real educational process, I guess you could call it. And let's pretend COVID doesn't even exist just for a moment, if we can. Yes. Already still challenging because of the uniqueness of what you're offering. But just a simple thing as a resume, like. I haven't put a resume out in a really long time, so I'm not even sure that I would even know where to start. Does a resume still look the same as it did 20 years ago, 15 years ago?
It doesn't look the same as what you and I, Dave, used to put together. No.
Okay.
And that in itself is part of the benefit of having a team of people working with you. Is there's people that are in your corner that are staying up to date on those current things. They are identifying what is relative to have on your resume and what's not, and they're helping you sort of streamline your process. And a resume is just one piece. There's interview prep, there's interview practice, there's first impressions, there's all of those small little puzzle pieces that go together with getting ready for employment. So even for someone who's had work in the past, but are maybe now looking to change careers, that's very different. And for many people, if you've never had the benefit of having a job, it can be very overwhelming in front of you to know what to do.
Yeah, and then there's that confidence thing too, right? I mean, everybody's at a different level with that for sure. And we've all got our comfort zones. We talk about that a lot, right? But can it take us through just a little bit? Obviously not all 6 weeks, but just kind of how does one get started with you and qualify, or whatever the proper word is, and take us through the whole process to the graduation day, I guess?
Sure, absolutely. So if you are interested in taking jobPath, there's a couple of things that take part before we really get into our 6-week session. So you would meet with myself and one of the other teammates. We would sit down and have an intake, what we call an intake meeting, where we get to know a little bit about you. Our program is funded by the Government of Canada. So there is an eligibility process to this program.
Okay, yep.
You do have to have a disability in order to take jobPath, and some other different pieces that we gain in our intake process. I file that off to the Government of Canada, and they get back to me and let me know if you're eligible. If you're eligible, then we look at when is the next best group that's going to be coming that you'd be a good fit. We take up to 12 people in a session, and we do look at the dynamics of the group to make sure that if you're going to come into jobPath, you're going to be surrounded with the right dynamic of individuals to help you be successful as well. So we want to make sure that there's maybe a good blend of individuals that you can mix with, that maybe some of the same age groups, some of the same experiences, because we find that helps people come out of their shell a little bit and feel comfortable with learning what we're facilitating. So that's really step number one. The first week of jobPath is really about getting to know yourself. And much of what we do is a lot of self-awareness and self-reflection for who we're serving. And then following that, in the weeks to come, we're learning things like health and safety. We're learning things like your resume and interview prep. We're learning a lot of life skills, time management skills, conflict resolution, a lot of really general life skills, if you will, but that apply into the workplace. And sometimes people don't connect the two. And if you don't have some of those basic skills, you can get a job, but then you might not realize why you can't keep one. And it's because you don't maybe have good time management, or you don't maybe have a healthy lifestyle where you're getting enough rest, so you're sleeping in and you're late for work all the time. You don't have good conflict resolution, so you're fighting with your workmates and eventually, get terminated. So those are all things that we're coaching along the way.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how you say connecting the two, like life skills to job skills, and a lot of times we don't even realize, I think, that two are the same sometimes. Like, oh, I don't know how to sell. Well, yeah, you're selling yourself. We've heard that sort of thing before, right? But even just a simple thing as like smile when you go into that interview, because not everybody does that, or it makes it a habit. Some people just, it doesn't mean they're not happy. They just don't smile.
That's right.
Those kind of things. So you work on those things too?
We work on all of those things. And I think now, just even in our world, and even pre-COVID, as you said, we live in a very virtual world now, even before COVID. So many people they have great skills on the computer. They have great skills in the social world on a network. However, if they haven't done much face-to-face with people, or if they haven't had much experience with communication skills in person, that can be a challenge now when they get to an interview. And it's not for any fault of their own. They just haven't been exposed to knowing what it's like to sit down with someone, a stranger, and have a conversation because they've been on a keyboard for many years. So that's a new skill for many people. It sounds odd to maybe someone like you and I, but for someone that maybe hasn't been out there in the community, that can be a real skill they have to learn.
We've all got our strengths, but we all got our weaknesses too, right? And we can polish those weeknesses up to make them our strengths too. It's got to be rewarding, your position, because I'm sure you see some great success, people coming out of this program. And do you see the person that comes into the program, maybe being kind of quiet at the beginning, but at the end of it, they become really excited and they're like, wow, I did, like, big accomplishment feeling going on here.
Oh, absolutely. And that can sometimes take place in a matter of a few days. Certainly by, halfway through, you're starting to see with your group, you're starting to see relationships sort of build even within the group, and friendships, support for each other. And then certainly by the end, at times there's, individuals that we have found employment before they even finish at the end of 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Because they've just really sort of stood out and worked really hard. And quite honestly, sometimes it's the matter of having an individual in your group who just happens to be the right fit for the job right at that time. We certainly don't try to force a square peg in a round hole, so to speak. It's
Right.
really critical that that individual is the right person for that job. And we work and talk a lot about goals and what their future wants to look like for them. And we try to help direct them in that way as much as possible.
Now, let's say somebody comes through the program, they do the 6 weeks, they graduate, and they've done everything. They've put their all into it. They weren't late. They did everything right, but they still just didn't quite get connected with somebody. What happens now? Are they on their own, or do you keep supporting them?
No, we keep supporting. The one thing we're really proud at jobPath is we never go away. And whether that's someone who was in jobPath 3 years ago, or whether it was in someone who was in jobPath 3 weeks ago, we're always here to support them. And they might find a job right out of jobPath, and 2 years from now, they're looking to go to another job. Well, do you know what? We want that person to call us and say, hey, I'm looking for applying for this job. Can you help me? We are always here for anyone that comes through our services.
Oh, that's fantastic. That probably makes them feel good going through the process too, to just kind of know that as long as they're needing help, they've got that support network, I guess. That's because that's a big part of it, right? If you go out on your own, try to find a job, no matter who you are, if you don't have that support, it's kind of hard.
Oh, exactly. And I think really a key piece to jobPath is we have job coaches that's specifically what they do on site. So if an individual gets into a job their first 2 weeks, and this is really the big value to the employer as well, a job coach will come with that person and with that new hire, and they will assist in training that person. So the individual feels supported, they feel less anxious when they're starting this new job, which 9 times out of 10 leads them to better production and better progress at work. And it saves a lot of time and money for the employer. Now that business owner or that HR individual, training person can step away and do something else with their time because a job coach is already sort of facilitating that for them. And that job coach never goes away either. He or she will take phone calls from people that they served, and helped 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh,
and
wow.
maybe now they're going from stocking shelves to, maybe working in the bakery at the grocery store. Well, you know what, that job coach will come back in and help coach you on that new position too. So we're always there in their corner.
It's a really long-term service that you're providing there as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're always here.
So this is free to those who use the service, who qualify to use the service?
Yes, absolutely. And the big thing really that we have faced, as everyone has in the last 6 to 7 months with the pandemic, of course, is this new virtual world. So we used to have the benefit of having 12 individuals come into this classroom that I'm sitting in right now. And in person, obviously, we did all of our work, which now is not possible. So we have sort of transferred our curriculum and everything we do into a virtual platform. So we currently have 12 individuals in jobPath who all sign in every day on Zoom, and we send them electronically their materials. We share screens, we host things virtually, we go into breakout rooms, and it's really been a great experience. It's been a learning curve for us too, and
sure.
It's a great experience for them because now actually they're learning another skill.
Right.
6 or 7 months ago, they wouldn't have had to learn. So we try to find the silver lining in what we're doing. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's fantastic what you're doing. And it's obviously do you have any, do you got any numbers you want to brag about on the success rate here?
Oh, on our success rate, I believe the latest stat that we had was 77% of our participants that come out of jobPath are employed. Yes, that's probably the latest as of last year. Of course, it's too soon to see what's going to happen this year. But there is some really great stats that are out there, really, as far as for business. And that's really, I think, the key that jobPath and what our team really wants to try to get across is to business and to employers. I know just with my past experience, there's really sort of 3 key areas that cost businesses the most. and that tends to be sick time, tends to be health and safety, and it tends to be retention. So those three sort of big key factors is what's costing business a lot of money. And I'm talking pre-COVID. I know that's a whole other.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a new stat. It's going to have a whole new meaning.
It's going to have a whole new meaning, exactly. But it is important that, when we talk about inclusive hiring and we talk about hiring someone with an individual, that those three key elements, which are high costs for employers, that they do hear three stats. And I don't want to stat anyone to death today, but I am going to say these three stats. 86% of employees who have a disability have average to above average in their attendance record. So that's key. 97% of employees who have a disability rate average or above average in their health and safety. And staff retention is 72% higher with an employee with a disability than those without. So as a business owner or as an employer, those are big tickets that are costing your business every year. And it would be something to consider when you review your hiring practices and think of inclusive hiring.
Those are great numbers. And do I take it down this road? Why do you think that is? They're really appreciating what they have?
It's an appreciation. It is, I think in a lot of ways, it's an individual's finally been given an opportunity that someone else hasn't given them. I think if you look at, depending on what the disability is, sometimes that can just be a habit of someone with a particular disability as well. Routine, schedule, focus, those can always be great indicators. It might happen to be wrapped in the word disability for whatever reason, but those are key performance factors really for a lot of people that have a disability. And for an employer, those are key things that employers are looking for. They maybe just don't realize it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like very positive results, and I'm glad we were able to help you spread the word for jobPath employment. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what NDEAM is and give a shout out this week. So this is October is a National Promotion Month and campaign for NDEAM, which, as you said, is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which is certainly a mouthful. But really what we want to do is we want to get businesses and employers thinking about inclusive hiring, thinking about and reflecting back a little bit about what their hiring practices are. Are they practicing inclusive hiring? What does that mean? If they're not sure, contact us. We'd love to sit down and we can help you and learn a little bit more about it. But other than that, we're going to be promoting for the rest of the month. On Thursday this week, you are going to see some key places in the city of Sarnia that are going to be lit up in blue and purple. That's our celebratory colors.
Nice.
So shout out to City of Sarnia and City Hall. They're going to be supporting us with blue and purple, as is Blue Water Power. They're always so supportive in the community as well. But that's really what's going on with NDEAM for the rest of the month. And other than that, I just really wanted to encourage people to reach out to us here at jobPath. We can certainly help with your recruiting needs and vet your employees for you and save you a lot of time and money.
It's great to have that support in the community. It really speaks to the importance of what you're doing. When you have something as large as Blue Water Power and you have the City of Sarnia backing you up, that's incredible volumes that's being put out there in the community for this. And you're not hard to find. You're being social. You're on Facebook. You're on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're out there and we're easy to find. We actually have a new employment transitions shop front, I like to call it, at our office. So we do have a storefront now at 551 Exmouth Street, and that is right across from Giant Tiger in the Northgate Plaza. If you look right across the street, you'll see the jobPath and employment transitions signs, and that's where half of the team works. And the other half, myself and one of the facilitators, is here in this classroom, which is located on Oakdale Ave. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Heather, thank you so much for being here and reaching out so we can spread the word for you. And I welcome you back anytime. If you've got any updates, please let me know. We'll have you back.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much for having us, Dave.
You're welcome. Bye now. Heather Allen, well, they're promoting National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It is a mouthful, but I got it. And from jobPath Employment there. Great information, had no idea. And it's nice to know these services are out there. And as I said, it's great to see corporations like Blue Water Power and, of course, the city of Sarnia supporting this coming up this week, as she mentioned as well. That will be lighting bright lights in purple. So keep an eye out for that. And if you know someone, if you're watching this and you know someone that, hey, maybe they could use help with that, make sure you reach out to them. Again, they're on Instagram. Cool to be on Instagram. And of course on Facebook as well. And I'm sure if you Google the name jobPath Employment, you'll be able to find the old-fashioned way, which is a phone call, right? So thanks again to Heather Allen for joining us here today. All right, well, I'm making it a little bit short this week just because I got some other stuff to do, but I want to always say thank you to all of our supporters who come on here. Of course, Oswald's Diner, been a great supporter for us for quite some time now. And the motorcycles, I know it's getting a little chilly. I'm waiting for a couple more nice days. I'll be back out on the motorcycle. So watch out for the motorcycles. Drive aware, ride aware. Motorcycle riders, you got to be just as aware as well. So thanks to our friends at Oswald's. Check them out online. Delicious food. Actually, I think it might be supper tonight. Thanks, Oswald's Diner, for your support. And everyone else who comes on and supports us here. Huron Signs, SWO, thank you. They've been with us practically from the start. We're coming up on 9 years in November. Wow. I better try to plan some kind of virtual party, I guess, right? And of course, Active Ears Hearing Center, very supportive in everything we do, not just here on the show, but a lot of our live streaming events for that. Thank you, Christine Fiji. Hughes Intelligence, Hughes Intelligence, right? Barry Bentley, if you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. Hughes Intelligence Canada, great supporters for many years around here as well. Joe's Discount Tire, Philly Cheese Jakes, and even though it's not up there, I always like to give a shout out to my son, Jason at J-Man's Affordable iPhone Repair. Another mouthful. And of course, thanks to all of you. Really do appreciate you showing up here. If you've got a story that's a positive one, or you know somebody that has a story that you'd like to see shared, reach out to me on Facebook, send me a message, or maybe you've got an organization you'd like to promote as well. Give me a shout on Facebook. I'm not hard to find, and I'd love to talk about it. Maybe we can have you here to talk about it with everyone else. So thanks to all of you. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.